بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبي وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Tonight, as you know, for those of us who have looked and we could not see the moon, tomorrow we will be fasting. And then, inshallah, we will celebrate the Eid on Wednesday. But for those who follow certain scholars like Al-Marhum Samahat Ayatollah Fadlallah, they have declared tomorrow to be an Eid. For that matter, I just wanted to talk about the importance of Laylatul Eid, the night of Eid. Whether it happened to be tomorrow is your Eid or a day after tomorrow. The night of Eid, which is the first night of Shawwal, it is known to be one of the most important nights in Islam. To the point that some ahadith even stated that Laylatul Eid, Eid al-Fitr, لا تقل أهمية عن ليلة القدر. That the night of Eid is as important as the night of Qadr. That is how important the night of Eid is. That is one. Number two, the night of Eid also is recommended one to do al-ghusl, Islamic bath. That is two. Number three, one of the mustahabbat of the night of Eid is kathrat dua. To do as much as you can. Dua as much as you can, the night of Eid. That is number three. Number four, kathratul istighfar. A lot of istighfar. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. It's highly recommended the night of Eid, a person should repeat this over and over and over. Why? Because in the hadith they say on the day of Eid is the day that Allah forgives as many as He forgives during the whole month of Ramadan. Any number that Allah forgives during the month of Ramadan, Allah multiplies that number on the day of Eid. So you want to prepare yourself to be among those Allah will forgive on the day of Eid. So that night is so important that one should do a lot of istighfar. Number five, one of the mustahabbat. If you can, it's highly recommended to sleep in the masjid. It's called al-baytuta fil masjid. To spend the whole night in the masjid. Because the last 10 days of Ramadan, one of the mustahabbat al-aqidah that our scholars mentioned, all the maraja, is called i'tikaf. 10 nights, one spends in the masjid, that all they do is to pray and ask Allah's forgiveness. Now, you are not able to do the whole 10 nights. They say at least the night of Eid, if one can, to spend the whole night in the masjid. That is one of the mustahabbat of the night of Al-Eid. Another istihbab is that there is a lot of dua. Al-Mafatih al-Jinan, Sahif al-Sajjadiyah, they have mentioned many du'as that one can read. in the night of Eid, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many things. One of the du'as in Mafatih al-Jinan, you ask Allah not to make this Eid the last Eid of your life. You want to see next year Eid? Do those du'as. Insha'Allah, Allah gives you a longer life to see next year. Because remember, there are a lot of people who fast with us last year. We did Eid together, but this year they're not here. In that Mafatil Jinan, Sa'if al-Sajjadiyah, there are many du'as from our imams asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you a long life so you can see the next year of Ramadan, so you can be among those who fast as well. These are some of the mustahabbat. Now, the next thing, what follows the night of Eid, is that it's highly recommended. The night of Eid, one should take the Zakatul Fitra and put aside. Get it ready, prepare, take it out and say, this is Zakatul Fitra, and this will be given tomorrow, inshallah. To put it aside. This Zakatul Fitra is wajib with conditions. If a person meets those conditions that inshallah I will mention, then it becomes wajib upon that person. Number one, they say al-aql. When they say al-aql, meaning if a person has any mental disorder, that is not wajib. And we have two types of mental problem. There is one, they call it al-junoon al-mutbiq. And then there is another one is called junoon idwari. Two types of mental disorder. Junoon mutbiq, they say, is a mental disorder that the person have developed. There is no any time of recovery. 24/7 is mental. That is one. Number two, junoon idwari, a person who's mental, but the mental is from time to time. Sometimes maybe the beginning of the month, sometimes the middle of the month, or at the end of the month, he feels that is out of his mind, but then after a few days he feels better. They say if Zakat al-Fitr or Eid falls during the days that he is fine, he's normal, then it's wajib. But if the Eid falls during the time where his mental disorder started, or is within those days, there is no wajib for him. That is why they call it al-aql. The person has to be sound, and say it should be sound. That is one. Number two, they said al-bulugh. The person has to be baligh, meaning the person have reached to the age of puberty according to the Islamic point of view. Meaning if a person is not baligh, whether a boy or girl, there is no wajib upon them. Unless if they are under the care of someone, then it becomes wajib upon that person to pay on their behalf. So that is condition number two. Condition number three, the person has to be an yakuna wa'iyan. He has to be conscious. Meaning, if a person happens to be in a coma, there is no wajib upon them. They don't have to pay zakat al-fitr. They have to be wa'i. They have to be conscious. That is condition number three. Condition number four, Allah yakuna abdan mamlukan li ghayri. Shouldn't be a slave of someone. If a person is baligh, is aql, but is a slave to somebody, that's not wajib for them. They have to be al-hurr. Means not owned by anybody. It's a free, meaning it's not a slave to anybody. That's another condition. The other condition, which is the last condition, Allah yakuna faqiran. Shouldn't be a needy person. Meaning, if a person is aql, is baligh, is wa'i, is not a slave, but is poor, he cannot afford it, then he is not wajib upon that person. As a matter of fact, he has to be given zakat al-fitr. The person has to be given the zakat al-fitr. So if a person meet those conditions, then zakat al-fitr is wajib upon the person, and he or she has to pay zakat al-fitr. And we mentioned in the previous lecture or in the last night that the person who meet this condition must make sure that this zakat al-fitr is paid at least before the Eid. Why? Because if you don't pay before the Eid, or if you fail to pay, they say your fasting will be hanging. This is from Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. In some hadith, they say if a person can afford it, but fail to pay, they say his fasting will not be accepted. I make the condition, I can afford it, but I say, no, I don't want to pay. They say, this hadith said your fasting will not be accepted. That is how much zakat al-fitr is important. This zakat al-fitr, when you pay it, what is the wisdom behind it? Why do you have to pay it? Islam said, this Eid is a day that a Muslim should enjoy, and a day that Allah has made it a big day for every Muslim. That is why when you read in dua of the day of Eid, one part of it, الذي جعلته للمسلمين عيدا, right? And then he goes to continue, says, and they say, ذخرا وشرفا وكرامة ومزيدا. Sharaf is an honor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this day for all mu'mineen. This honor, it should be observed by every mu'min, should enjoy it as well. That is why they said in Islam, one of the wisdom why Islam say you have to pay the zakat al-fitr, so that poor people who cannot afford it, and this is why also it's recommended to pay earlier, so that way the money can reach to those who need, so they can also buy their needs and also join everyone to celebrate and enjoy the Eid. That's why they say if you give it after the Eid, after the zawal, after the noon, then it's not considered zakat al-fitr, it's considered sadaqah. It's any other donation to Islam. But the value and the honor and the reward that you get if you pay it as zakat al-fitr is not going to be the same if you pay it ba'da zawal. However, if you take the money out, let's say I take zakat al-fitr, I put it aside, right? But I didn't give to anybody because I didn't find anybody. You get the same reward, even if it's sitting until a year. You still get the reward because you put it aside. But can I say, okay, let me take this money and use it for something, and then later I can pay it back? No, you cannot. You cannot take after you put it aside, then it is no longer your money anymore. And this is one point I want all of us to understand. Because sometimes people ask, even in the case of homes, or in the case of nadhr, if you take the money out, you say, for example, this is khums. I put the khums aside. This is khums, right? As soon as you make the intention, this is khums, then guess what? It's no longer yours anymore. Now it belongs to whom? To the imam. Now anything that you want to do with this money, anything this money cannot be touched unless with the permission of imam or naib al-imam. If I want to use the money, I have to ask naib al-imam, I have this amount of money of khums, I want to do so and so. Would he give me permission? With his permission you can. But I cannot say, oh okay, it's a khums anyway, I can take it and use it so and so. No, you cannot. The same thing applies to zakat al-fitr. As soon as you put it aside and you say, this is zakat al-fitr, I cannot go back and take it and say I want to use it for something and then later on. No, because at that moment, it's no longer your money. Now, it's now the money of Shara because it's already put aside. Unless if the person becomes a needy at that moment that they deserve, they become one of the fuqara, then yes, they can be using that money at that moment. But if I am in the position where I don't need it, I'm not allowed to give that money. I have to touch that money. Now, I take the zakat al-fitr out. It's sitting here. Who are the people that deserve to be given zakat al-fitra. Our scholar said, any person that meets one of the eight categories, then they can be given zakat al-fitra. If a person is not one of the eight and you give them the money, then you're still responsible, you have to pay the gain. You have to make sure that anybody that receives this zakat al-fitra is one of the eight groups. If not, you're still responsible. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you will be asked about it. What are those? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned them in Surah Al-Tawbah. Number one, they said, al-fuqara. What's the meaning of fuqara? Fuqara is the plural of faqir. Faqir, they say, is a needy, a poor person. You go to fiqh, the fiqh defines man huwa al-faqir. How do I know this person is faqir or this person is not faqir? How do I define them? In fiqh, they say, man la yamliku quta sanatih. A person who doesn't have a yearly income, which is, let me explain, in American words, it means faqir, a person who does not have a stable job. It's going to be called faqir. A person who cannot pay their own expenses. A person who cannot meet their needs. And listen careful, needs, not luxury. No, I'm not talking about luxury. Somebody has, mashallah, one Toyota, he said, no, I'm faqir because I don't have a luxury. I don't have Lexus. No, you're not. Oh no, for example, I have this car, but I want like BM. No, you are not faqir, Habib. Right? A person who does not have enough income to meet their needs, for example, food, for example, water, for example, to pay the electricity bill, for example, they cannot afford to pay their rent, clothes. These are called faqir. If a person like this in your neighborhood, they say you should give them the zakat al-fitra. They are the one who deserve it. Now let's say I say, no, I'm going to send it to somewhere else. Can you do that? Yeah, they say you can. However, now let's be careful. In the process of sending the money, if something happened, the money got lost. Are you responsible or not? Yes, you're responsible. You have to pay the gain. I'm sending it to somebody, but it got lost in the way. As long as somebody is here who is needy and you left the person, send it to somewhere else, the fuqaha say you have to pay it again. Well, that's the first category, faqir, who doesn't have money to meet their needs. That's one. Number two, al-masakin. Miskin is even worse than the faqir. In other words, let me define faqir and miskin in a way that it might be easier to understand. They say al-faqir is a person who has food either for today, but doesn't know tomorrow I might have it, I don't know, inshallah, Allah kareem. But miskin, he or she doesn't have even food for today. The situation is even worse. They say that is called miskin. And that person should be given zakat al-fitra. That is group number two. Group number three, وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةُ قُلُوبُهُمْ. One of them, which is not category number three, is that people who are not Muslims. And this is to tell you how Islam is a generous and kind religion. And this is for those who think Islam is always terrorizing people, killing, bloodshed. Now I want them to open their ears and listen. The rahmah of Islam. Islam is telling وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةُ قُلُوبُهُمْ. People who are not Muslims, they have nothing to do with Islam. But they're kind, they're nice to Islam. Right? Islam says if they happen to be poor and needy, we can give them to. Zakat al-fitra. He's not a Muslim. Yes. He's a Christian, he's Jew, whatever he might be, as long as he doesn't carry a hate about Islam and Muslims, you can give them zakat al-fitra. That is number three. Number 4, al-amilina alayha. People who are working, collecting zakat. Their job is to travel miles and miles to collect zakat from here, from there, from this city, from this state. That's their job. Islam said they also have to make a living. They have families, they have bills. How can they come? How can they pay their bills? Islam said from the zakat, they have to be given money so they can take care of their needs as well. That is category number 4. Number 5, wal-gharimin. People who are deep in debt. They are deep in debt. They cannot afford to pay their loans. But which loan are we talking about? Now listen careful. Not a person who goes to Las Vegas, right? MashaAllah, with his money, taking gambling and gambling and gambling all night, MashaAllah. Thousands and thousands of dollars goes out, and then he comes, I can't pay my loan. I'm one of the gharimin. Guess what? Sadaqallahu al-azim. You find you a job, you go and work, and you pay your bills. Al-gharimin are the people who took loan for their needs, and they could not pay it. Then Islam says, yes, they should be helped with this money, which is zakat al-fitra, so they can pay their loans and get out of their debts. That is wal-gharimi. The next one, which is wafir riqab. They are slaves of Muslims who happen to be owned by the non-Muslims, which doesn't exist these days, inshallah. If a Muslim happened to be a slave of another person who's not a Muslim, and that person wanted to sell that Muslim who is a slave to him. Now we have money of zakat al-fitra. Can we take the money and pay in order to free this Muslim? Yes, we can. It's called wafir riqab. The slaves of Muslims. Which slave? See here, sometimes some people ask, okay, what is the meaning of slave? Some people think that I can go to, I don't know, some places like Nicaragua and mashallah, go to the market and say how much this baby costs. You say this is cost 500,000. Mashallah, this is it. Okay, this is my slave. Habibi, haram in Islam. No selling. This is called selling people. It's haram in Islam. You cannot sell someone. It's haram. When we say slave, is people who have been captured in the war that is authorized by the Prophet or Imam or Naib al-Imam. Now listen careful. It has to be authorized. 1, either the Prophet said, yes, this war should be fought. 2, Imam said, this war should be fought. 3, Naib al-Imam, marja. Not me said, oh, mashallah, I don't like this neighborhood. They're all kafir, so I'm going to take gun on them. And inshallah, anybody that I capture is going to be a slave. Right? No, this is not authorized by Imam. And you cannot be Imam of yourself. So any type of capturing somebody you do is illegally Islamically. It's haram. You're not allowed to do that. So if an Imam or the Prophet or Naib al-Imam authorized a war, and then in that war they captured captives, prisoners, those prisoners, also there are all conditions. Don't think that as soon as they capture them, they become slaves, they dispute. No, they have to meet conditions. It's mentioned in the fiqh. One of the conditions is, in that fight between the Muslims and non-Muslims, they should not be other Muslims being captured in the hands of non-Muslims. Meaning, if they happen to be, there are some Muslims who happen to be captured by non-Muslims, then these Muslims that non-Muslims that we captured as Muslims, we have to trade them in order to bring the Muslims back. We cannot keep them and say, oh, they're slaves anyway, we don't care about those Muslims. Inshallah, Allah Ghafur Rahim. No, we have to make whatever we can to make sure that those Muslims are back to their families. These are some of the conditions. So if all the conditions are met, then the Hakim al-Shari'i, either the Prophet or Imam or the Naib al-Imam, give you one of those captives, then they can be called a slave. And even with that, there are conditions in Islam how to treat them, how to take care of them. It's not like if they're my slave, I can do anything that I want. La, it's haram in Islam. You cannot do that. There are conditions that Islam have designed, and it's mentioned in the books of fiqh in details. So if a Muslim happen to be a slave to a non-Muslim, and that non-Muslim is selling Muslim slave, and we have money from Zakat al-Fitra, we can spend the money in order to free that Muslim. And it's called Wafir Riqab. That is number 5. Number 6. Number 7 is called Wabn Sabil. Ibn Sabil is a traveler. Any person who's traveling, going somewhere, and then they get stranded in the middle of the road. Something happened, their money got lost, they got robbed. Here, I have Zakat al-Fitra. The person is traveling. And all this, remember, all this that we're talking about, they don't have to be Muslims. Quran says, Ibn Sabil. Any person happen to be traveling and they happen to be a people who are in need, you can spend Zakat al-Fitra to that person. Ibn Sabil, a traveler who's stranded, you can give them Zakat al-Fitra. Number 8, which is the last one, is called Wafi Sabilillah. Anything that is meant for the sake of Allah. Anything that is meant for the sake of Allah. For example, they build a masjid. They need help. Can I use Zakat al-Fitra? Yes, you can. They're building a place like a school. They need help. Can I use Zakat al-Fitra? Yes, you can. They building something. For example, like Magsal, place of washing Muslim dead people. Can I use that Zakat al-Fitra? Yes, you can. Anything that is meant for the sake of Allah, a person can go and use Zakat al-Fitra money to give it. However, some scholar says, now how should I use the preference? Okay, now I have 8 categories, right? Now how should I do? How should I distribute it? They said it's better to follow the sequence of Quran. Meaning, I have 8 categories. I have Fi Sabilillah, I have a slave, I have. Now, which one should I start with? They say start according to the order. Al-Fuqara, people who cannot afford. They are more in need, that we should give them first. And this faqir, we have to pay attention here, brothers. This faqir, they say it has to be also is categorized in Islam. It's based on darajat. For example, I have faqir who happen to be from my relatives, my family member. And there's another faqir who's not my family member. That's also needy. This one also is needy. Now, who should I give it first? Who should I put first? The one who is a faqir is not my family member, or the one who is a faqir but my family member? Islam says, start with the one who happened to be your family member. Al-aqrabuna awla bil-ma'ruf, Quran says. Those who are next, because sometimes some people, your family says, no, I know it's in my family, but I don't want to give them. Like some of us, that's what we do, right? It's unfortunately that it happened among us. You see, a brother Muslim, he owns a place. He owns something that another Muslim in need. But no, I'm not going to give Muslim. I prefer to give it somebody who is atheist, somebody who has nothing to do with me. My other Muslim is in need. No. That's not akhlaq of Islam. Islam says, watch for your brothers first. Watch for your close ones first. If they are taken care of, then you can go to the next level. That is according to how the Quran and Islam categorize it. So you go to your family members, and the closest they are, the better you should. However, remember this. You cannot give Zakat al-Fitra to people that it's wajib to take care of them. Because I said, don't say, okay, my wife is closer to me, right? So, okay, Zakat al-Fitra, I'm going to give it to my wife. Honey, this is Zakat al-Fitra. Because they say you're closer to me. No. They shouldn't be the people that you have to take care of. A wife, a child is one of your wajibat. As long as those akrabun, those relatives, if they are not those that you have to take care of them, such as uncles, cousins, if they happen to be needy, then you can give them the Zakat al-Fitra. But a wife and the children, or any other orphan that you taking responsibility of taking care of them, you cannot give them zakat al-fitra, even though they may be closer to you. So these are some of the ahkam of zakat al-fitra that I wanted to share with you, that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to end the month of Ramadan, Ya Allah, while we are pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ramadan is almost finished. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Rabbal Alameen, let our sins also finish in your sight, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you, this month of Ramadan, our fasting, our du'as, Ya Allah, let it be accepted to you, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you, any shortcomings that we have done in this holy month of Ramadan, whether we are aware of or we are not aware of, Ya Rabbal Alameen, forgive us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you, don't let this Ramadan be the last Ramadan of our lives, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Allah, in this holy month of Ramadan, let us be among those you have chosen and selected to visit your house, Hajj Bayt al-Haram, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you, we have brothers and sisters who are sick, Ya Allah, give them fastest recovery. Our marhumeen and marhumat, Ya Allah, be pleased with all of them, Ya Rabb. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 باسمك العظيم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله 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 يا مجيب المضطرين أجب المضطر بحق المضطر إنك على كل شيء قدير. To all your deceased ones, رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله.